Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Brit Howell. Welcome to Nitro Autolab. If you guys could please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. It really helps. Anyways, I'm gonna go over a little more of the install of the spray booth. Now, I went over some other things in the other video, so if you guys want to find out more, just please watch the other parts of the spray booth install. Now, as you can see behind me, our spray booth is in, it's complete. I am gonna go over just some general install and construction of the booth and my experiences. Now, I'm not a professional installing these. I'm just gonna kind of go over some key points of the install of the spray booth. Now, I'm gonna start with just the general construction, how these panels go together. They're just 1/4 inch by 20 nuts and bolts. Now, it comes with a lot of them. So you can see our light fixtures are all installed there. Now we got 1/4 inch floor mounting anchors as well, as you can see there. Now when you put this thing up, you do want to make sure it's square, guys. Now keep working on it staying square. The more you keep it square when you're putting it up, the easier it will be when you are going to put the doors on. Now you have to make sure you are square when you put these doors on. I am telling you right now, if you don't anchor it until you know where these doors are gonna be. So you can see our doors here. Now, our latch is up above. Now, when I was installing these doors, I got a little bit ahead of myself and I actually installed the handles right here where you can see these bolts. I plugged them up with some bigger bolts, which also didn't work because now they're kind of stripped out and it's not really working. So I'll probably come up with something to cover that and get rid of these bolt heads. But anyways, I actually originally mounted that latch mechanism down here in the center, right here in the center, sorry, and the handle's right here. Now, the thing is, on the inside, you can't mount the handles right there because it overlaps. Now, then I would have had to mount it here, which I would have had one handle here, and then one bolts and nuts poking out here. So I thought, well, that's stupid. So I took it apart, and I ended up sandwiching the handles like that, which I thought for a cleaner look, it looked great. Unfortunately, I left myself some extra holes. It happens. So in the center, now you can't mount the latch in the center of the doors because it has to be, the striker up there has to be on a fixed point. This other door moves. Now, what was happening was when the latch was in the center, I could get it to latch, but the problem was both doors were kind of like sticking out like this. And then you'd push them and they would just pop back out. So after playing around with it a little bit and looking at the little tiny little diagram that M-tek sends you, they show a little tiny circle of that latch mechanism being at the top of the door like that. So I kind of wish M-tek had at least a note sheet or something describing some key points like that. So that's one thing I would recommend M-tek tightens up on, is maybe include some notes with their blueprints. Now, it kind of goes together like an erector set. If you've put anything together before, you could pretty much figure it out. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, but a note sheet with some key components, some key notes like that would really be helpful for the install on one of these spray booths. Now, basically, this door closes first, and I just kind of click. Now they're nice and tight. You can see our construction, intake box, fire suppression system, which when they send you, doesn't come with everything, according to my fire suppression company, which is a national fire suppression company, and they install things up to national code. So they said it doesn't come with everything, and I believe them after watching their install. To mount my boxes here, now you could mount these technically on your wall, but I kind of wanted to keep everything on the booth. Now when I did that, I just kind of came up with some little L brackets that I got from the hardware store. Nothing fancy, it worked. So because you don't want to go drilling holes on this stuff because you'll see it on the other side. Now here's our other latch on our man door and our handle. Inside here you can see my single bulb rubber weather strip seal. I bought that seal. It did not come with the M-tek booth. They come with some foam tape, and honestly, throw it in the trash. It's no good. It's not gonna hold up. It might work temporarily. It might work for mediocre use, but on a professional level, it's not gonna hold up. It's not gonna hold up the water. I tried to use it on the big doors and it did not work. It just made a mess. So I ended up having to remove it and use some adhesive remover to get rid of all the glue that was left behind as well. So I used some single bulb rubber weather strip seal that I got from, I think it's U-Line, but I got it from a local canopy installation shop called Rain Cap Inc. So if you need, you can reach out to them. Maybe they can mail you some. It'd be www.raincap.com. Inside the booth here, here's the exhaust box. Now, inside, while I got this open, you can see our exhaust fans up there. I added a decal. Now, I don't know if you guys can tell on the camera, but I actually have like this textured look. Now, I probably over applied it. You can see it looks a little better here, but it's actually 3M booth coating. Now, I still have the bottle to show you guys. I got 2 bottles of it, 2 gallons. I think I spent almost about $200 to get it, but it's water-based sprayable masking film. Rinses off easy with water, no stripping or peeling of booth walls required. So basically, you just pour this in your spray gun, you just start spraying it on your clean walls. Now what that does is put like a clear plastic film that's sprayable on over, so that way over time, overspray and paint gets stuck to it. And then maybe a year or 2 down the road, you decide that you want it to look clean and white again like it does. You can come in here with a hose and rinse it off. And what doesn't come off, you can actually grab a Scotch-Brite and just kind of loosen up and then rinse again. And if you have to, you can add some white base coat in some areas if you need, and then reapply your booth coating, and then your booth will look brand new again. Now I put it everywhere. So 2 gallons was more than enough. You only really needed like 1.5 gallons to do this 24-foot spray booth. You can see our seams are all caulked. Now we didn't use anything fancy as far as that. We just used some regular white DAP that you'd use in a bathtub, and it worked really good. Now we just made sure to inject it into each seam. We just pull, and we take a rubber glove and a finger and do that. Push it in there, and then we could even took like a sponge and a mixing cup of water, and we'd wipe our excess off. And that worked really good. It came off really good with water, so it left no caulking on the outside of our seams. So all of our seams are caulked. Inside, you can see our handles. We also have single bulb seal on this surface. Now I tried the foam tape before on this surface, and all it did was tear off. It was hanging off, and literally 2 or 3 times of opening the door. So you can see I got 3 pulls of single bulb. I got it on this surface, because if I put it here, it would probably tear off. And then up there, I have it on this surface. Now, it was really tight at first, but I left it closed for a week, and it seems to already have broken in really nice, and it's sealing really good. Now, when you get the booth on and working, you can literally walk around and feel if you got a leak. If you got a little hole on your floor, you're gonna feel it pulling air in. So, after we got it all caulked and sealed, I kind of went around and found a couple extra spots that were kind of leaking, so I just kind of fixed them up. It's hard to see, but I still got a little gap right there at the top of the doors where some light's coming through. Now, I'm gonna have to get some sort of rubber seal to kind of go up there and make it, otherwise I'm gonna pull in some dust and dirt right there. On the bottom, it comes with some 4-inch rubber strip, and it comes with these little pieces of metal here, and I might have put them on the wrong side of the doors, but at the same time, the doors swing both ways, so I don't think it matters. I do like cosmetically how it looks on the inside of the doors, not the outside. But one thing I'm noticing is I'm sealing really good on this part of the floor. Now, concrete's not always even, and my concrete's definitely not even. But on this side, I notice I'm having a warpage issue. Now, when I was just looking at it the other day, I noticed that this was popping out. So what I'm gonna do is probably untake these Tech screws out and make sure it's flat again. Tech screwed in, and I might have to add 1 or 2 more here to make up for, and that might hold this down, which is why it's probably doing that, but it could be my concrete alone. So, you can see my caulking, you can see my fire suppression system, the filters, once again, I wish they came with a note sheet because I couldn't even figure out how they wanted to put the filters in. But after looking at pictures on their website, I could see, after zooming in, that the filters were mounted like this. And then they come with these little screens with some rubber tips, and you just put them in like that, and just kind of push them tight like that. So then they're not going to blow in. Service switch on. Now this door like slams closed. You can feel it pulling in really good. But you can see it seals up pretty good there. I also added a gun mount. So when I'm walking out of here, I can put my spray gun in there between coats if I want. You can add all sorts of things like mixing tables. Right here I have a hose. Down here, this is where I plumbed in to put my air line. Now I might put an air water separator and regulator right here or right here. This sign comes from the fire suppression company. It does not come with the spray booth. That bottle doesn't come with the spray booth. For our light fixtures, our junction boxes, our fire suppression system, these are our pull cables. That's our manual pull cable. And then that's our black pipe that feeds the dry chemical. You can see the 4 nozzles that pop in through the booth, and that black pipe goes to the dry chemical PCI 70 bottle that comes with their fire suppression system from M-tek. Here is our exhaust fan motor, and our belts that drive the fan inside here. There's our fire suppression system. We've got 1 nozzle that feeds above the fan, 1 below, and our little access doors. The M-tek does come with 3 ducting pieces and a topper, and it also comes with like a flange mounting ring. You mount the flange mounting ring on your booth motor, and then you slide your ducting on top of that. Now you would think that this ducting would just slide on top of each other, and it doesn't. So unless I did something wrong, and I should have called M-tek about it, but I don't think I did anything wrong. Maybe there's 3 different sizes that are slightly like a small, medium, large that slide in order, but they weren't labeled, so I'm pretty sure they were all the same. And the problem was, even with pry bars, we could not get it to pop together. You'll actually see where it's kind of bowed out right here. It's because it's going so tight to get in there that it's popping out with a big gap here. Now I used some 3M metal tape like that to just seal it up. Inside where we popped a hole through the roof, I added some little L brackets to stiffen this thing, which will slow down any vibration and keep it sturdy from any wind. Feel free to ask any questions, guys. I'll answer them as much as I can. So overall, I'm really happy with the M-tek spray booth. I think it's was great for the cost. It went together really well. There was just a couple complaints. One complaint would be the exhaust ducting. Does not slide together like you'd think. Another thing is the fire suppression system that you order from them does not come with everything. According to the National Fire Code, which is what Pi Barker Fire and Safety installed my system as, needed a lot more parts. As a matter of fact, almost $5,000 worth of parts. It didn't even come with that alarm and strobe, which you need, or these pull stations. Another thing is, I just kind of wish that they came with some better notes, kind of guide you on some key points like that, like the latch and handles. The weather strip that they come with, it's like a foam tape. It's trash, throw it in the garbage, don't even bother with it. I promise you, if you put it up, you will be redoing it. I'm not dissing M-tek in any way. I'm actually loving their product. They're a very great company, so easy to work with. I'm just letting you guys know that there were a couple things that I would say that they need to tighten up on, and maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe they would disagree. I'm just telling you guys my experience, but overall, top-notch company, and I do recommend them. There was just a couple things I didn't like, and it could have been on me as the installer, but I think any spray booth that you go with from any company, you're gonna find a couple things that you don't like, or possibly might not work good in your building. I got the powder coated finish, pretty happy with it. There's a couple spots on the inside walls that you can see have a little less coverage than the other walls. You can see I left a little bit of a gap to walk through. For servicing anything, I'm really liking everything about the M-tek spray booth. So I think the only complaints are the exhaust ducting, the fire suppression system not coming with everything, and I just wish they came with a few more notes to install this thing. Now this light out, we're on top of the roof right now, and there is our exhaust stack. Now we have 20 feet of exhaust stack plus the fan and the topper on top of the spray booth. Now you only get 3 of those sections with M-tek. Now luckily I had a friend down the road, we bought a spray booth at the same time, and he didn't use a couple of his sections. He had a custom exhaust made, so I was able to go snag one of his exhausts, because your exhaust has to be 6 feet above the highest point of your roof, or about exactly 6 feet. I have a really tall building. You probably won't need as tall of an exhaust as I do, but I had to go get an extra section. Now, when I was there, there were some collars that he had that I didn't have, and I was very confused. But after talking to M-tek, it sounds like that was something probably left behind from their sheet metal company that did do their exhaust install. So, but those collars helped slide between the 2 exhaust sections, and you can see that they don't slide over. I don't slide over on either one of my exhaust sections, except for the topper did fit. These exhaust pieces did not go over and slide over each other like they should have. No matter what I did, no matter what I pushed and pulled, how I put the bolt and nut, I was struggling. We were up here on the roof for 2 hours trying to just get these things to slide together in the heat. It does come with the piece of flashing, that's the collar, to go on your roof. So we did utilize that. You can't really see it right now, it's underneath all this metal and tar paper and stuff, but it's not finished up here. We still got some caulking to do. I did have to have this made, a storm collar. It cost me about $100 at a local sheet metal shop. You give them measurements and they actually made it for me. I got about $100 in just cable and binders and crimp connections to tie this stack down. Now we've already had a couple pretty windy days here. I wouldn't say super big windstorms, but definitely windier than average, and stack wasn't moving at all, so I'm very happy with it. Now I just got some Tek screws with some little like cleat mounts, and I just went right into the beams that run across here. With just the Tek screw, I'm really happy with, of course, bolting and nutting would probably be a little more strong. Same thing with that, but there's no way I could really safely get up there at this point to get up there, so I just used the ladder up here and just ran some Tek screws with the same mounting down here. I got all this stuff from a local hardware tractor supply store. It's actually called Tractor Supply. I'm not sure if you guys have one, but if you do, that's where I got all this stuff from. These are 5/16 bolt binders. Now these turnbuckles kind of just turn, and you can actually tighten the tension on these. So if I wanted to, I can make them a little tighter, but honestly it's pretty dang tight. It hasn't moved yet. You can see these little crimp connections here, and this is a 1/8 inch cable. So I could have went a little smaller, but 1/8 inch seems pretty good. It might have been overkill, but right now I think it's better safe than sorry. I have some cable cutters. You don't want to just use a regular pair of dikes to cut that cable. You'll probably break your dikes or hurt yourself. Also, I had to go buy some forged cable crimpers. These were about 40 bucks at Lowe's, and I'm sure you can get them from Home Depot and possibly a hardware store. Here there's a Northwest Clean Air Agency. They have all the rules and regulations on spray booths and equipment, dimensions, and the specs on how your exhaust should be mounted and how high it needs to be. In our case, it was 6 feet above the highest point of the roof. So that has to be 6 feet above the highest point of the roof. I had to get an extra section. The sections did not go together like they said and like I'd expected. Really happy with everything. M-tek is awesome. Chances are I probably just did something wrong, but I'm telling you guys, it did not go together like it should have. So the ducting, unless I did something wrong, probably one of my least favorite parts, the spray booth kit that I got from M-tek. It's up, it works, it functions, so I can't complain now. There you guys have it. If you guys could please like, comment, and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments or contact us at www.nitroautolab.com. Keep an eye out for that next video, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.